Hi and welcome back. So continuing with our MOBILETrak demonstration of the mobile devices, we're going to now focus on a different transaction, and that transaction is going to be our receiving module. So just like in the previous work order transaction, I'm going to go ahead and log in. We're going to assume that I finished my work order and now we're back in the warehouse to perform another function. So I'm going to log in with my user. Again, it's going to validate my credentials and bring me to the main menu. And again, this is all real time with NISC. So now I'm back at the main menu and I can either access my receiving function from the main menu, the icon menu, by tapping on the receiving, or I can select up here in the corner my menu for the left panel menu, and I can navigate quickly to any of my applications, and I'm going to pick receiving. So now, just like in the work order module, it's going to present me with any pending transactions that need to be completed. So currently I have one pending purchase order that I've either started or have not submitted my changes to iView. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that I'm not going to be using this one, and we're going to go ahead and select a new one. In this case, it's going to be the same one because that's my working purchase order. But just to demonstrate how I can select from a list, I can either scan that purchase order number or I can key it in with my keyboard. I'm going to key it in with my keyboard. So now I've chosen purchase order number 100. I don't want 100, I want 110, so I'm going to edit my lookup. So now here we are in purchase order number 110. You notice that it puts it in a list that I can then just tap on, and just like in the work order screen, it's going to give me some information about that purchase order. It's going to give me the purchase order number, any release that I have. In this case, I have none, so it's demonstrating unspecified. This would be for if I had, say, a blanket purchase order and I had multiple releases off of it. It would be shown here. It also gives me some information about my vendor. In this case, it's Wesco Distribution. Here's my description of the purchase order, ID Solutions PO 728, and then it's presenting me with a list that I'm just going to go ahead and scroll on my keyboard, and I can see, or on my display, and I can now see all of those items that are on that purchase order. And again, like the work order module, it's categorizing them by certain category. My current items are items that I have not touched, I haven't received anything off of yet. My pending items are items that I have picked partial but not complete, or items that I have picked partial and have not submitted back up to NISC. It also shows my completed items, but I have none, so it's showing none. Now, just like in the work order module, I can categorize or sort each one of those lists by simply just tapping on the sort function, and I can either choose bin location or item number. We like to use directed put away for receiving, just like we like to use directed picking for the work order module. So we like to use bin location wherever possible, just to be a little more efficient. So I'm going to choose bin location and hit done. So now, if I want to pick my items from the list and work with those items individually, I can either scroll and select, or I can come up to the top and it's asking me to scan my item number. And in a real world environment where I have a pallet or a delivery coming in from my vendor and it's sitting on the floor and I can then grab an item and I can scan that item, this is a more real world example, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that. So I'm going to go ahead and scan my barcode. So again, using the item 4x2 item label from the MOBILETrak print function, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scan the item. And now I have several items on this list, so I'm going to scan this particular barcode, and you notice when I do that, it's only giving me the item that I scanned. So it's filtered that list down to the item that I'm working with at the time. Okay, so now I can select that item. So now when I select this item, it's going to give me some information about it. Now, again, like in the work order module, we like to do things very valid. We like to validate almost everything so that we can be sure our accuracy is almost as 100% as we can get it. So before I can go any further in working with this item, I have to validate that item number. So I'm going to go back to my barcode scanner. I'm going to scan the item, and as long as it's valid, you'll notice that my little input line has turned green. That indicates that I have a valid item number. It's telling me what that item is. This is a 12-foot pole. It's telling me what my purchase order number is, what the line number on this purchase order is, the bin location that it's in, the ordered quantity, the previously received. If you notice when I showed you this item in the last screen, it was a pending item. The reason it was pending is because we have material that we received that we have not submitted. And then what my current quantity is. I'm going to go ahead and enter in a quantity of 20. Now, all of this information that we're seeing here, the purchase order number, the line item, the bin location, the quantity, the previously received quantity, all of that information is coming from iView. None of it is coming from an external database of any kind. So now that I've entered in my quantity, I simply hit Update Item. It's going to return me back to the main purchase order list, and now I can scroll down and I can find this item, which it's the item right here. And now I can see that my previously picked now is now quantity 60. Now I can return to that last screen, the PO detail screen, and you notice that I have this Apply Changes button lit up. And the reason that Apply Changes is enabled now is because I have items that we've worked with that we have not submitted to NISC. So if I want to make this live in real time and send it up to NISC, all I have to do is hit Apply Changes. And as long as I get no errors, then I know that I've submitted this properly, and all of that transaction has now been posted to NISC. All the inventory has been adjusted, all the accounting has been adjusted, and everything is real time. So that's a look at the MOBILETrak purchase order receiving screen. Next we'll be looking at the inventory module. Thank you very much.